Hoho und willkommen zurück zu Vampyr. Es gibt einen Verräter im Krankenhaus und wir müssen ihn finden. Oh. Ah, eine ACL-Lösung. Sehr schön, die brauchen wir doch. Aber zuerst mal gehen wir in unseren Raum und vergeben die EP, die wir gesammelt haben. Ich glaube, hier lang war es. Ach, auf einmal finde ich überall NaCl, okay. Also Kochsalzlösung. So. Einmal kurz ins Bett. So. Wir brauchen noch Wissenschaft. Ja, dann nehmen wir doch die Tasche. Gut. Und Taktik. Ja. Eigentlich bin ich ja für Schattenschleier, aber das ist bestimmt sehr teuer. Naja, das ist beides mit Blut wahrscheinlich, oder? Aber hier ist nicht so viel Blutverbrauch. Ich glaube, wir nehmen Schattenschleier. Ja. So, ultimativ können wir noch nicht. Und da können wir auch noch nicht weiter. Defensiv. Blutbarriere. Oh. Ja, 1300, das ist ja... Wieso sind die denn alle so teuer? Das ist ja krass. Was ist denn hier? Ah. Ja, das ist doch gut. Das ist wichtig. Ah, dafür haben wir nicht mehr genug. Okay. Vielleicht gehen wir deswegen auch immer so schnell down. So, schauen wir nochmal hier rein. Das sind auch 300. Ach doch, 300 haben wir noch. Wenn Biss verwendet wird. Ja, aber verwenden wir Biss oft? Durst ist passiv. Das sind 600. Okay. Das waren 2000 bei Aggressivität. Das ist ja... Gut, dann sparen wir uns erst noch mal ein bisschen was zusammen, glaube ich. Aber den Rest lassen wir jetzt erstmal so. Okay. Können wir noch irgendwelche Sera zusammenmischen? So, wir gerade hier sind. Warum nicht? Das können wir auch nicht. Okay. Haben wir schon mal noch mal eins dabei.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Ich weiß, dass sie Wasser braucht, aber ich habe ja keins. Und Salzwasser hilft ihr sicher nicht. Ich gucke mich hier noch mal um, ob es irgendwas Neues zum Einsammeln gibt. Ah. Codein. Also hier war da auch noch mal was. Auch nochmal. Soll mal einer sagen, in diesem Krankenhaus gibt es nichts. So, und jetzt reden wir mal mit Dr. Swansea.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
Für dich vielleicht. Für Jonathan so schnell nicht.
I'm a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer. Tell me how this is a gift.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Gut. Aber erst gucke ich noch mal, ob ich ihm was klauen kann. Ein warnender Brief. Sehr geehrter Dr. Swansea, hiermit informieren wir Sie über meinen starken Zweifel bezüglich Dr. Strickland und den Fall von Harvey Fiddick. Ah ja. Aber es war doch gar nicht Strickland. Aha. Ah, dieser Aykroyd. Schlimm. Okay. Ich kann auch kein Wasser für meine Pflanze klauen. Nein, mit ihm will ich jetzt nicht mehr reden. Gut. Dann versuchen wir doch mal die Dame zu finden. Was hat er gesagt? Draußen? Da mit jemandem noch nicht geredet. Ach, die sind drin, oder? Ich habe vergessen, wo ich suchen soll. Ah. Sehr hilfreich.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough.
Ich glaube, die Frau kennen wir schon.
Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reid. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a vamp... The lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
So it seems our Dr. Swansea does indeed have a fascination for creatures of our constitution.
Dr. Swansea is a remarkable man. Dedicated, one might say, obstinate? He spent years compiling our bestiary.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Excuse my impertinence, your ladyship. This is not an interrogation. I assure you that this line of questioning is in your best interest.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take care of it. Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reid. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Gut. Na gut. Nelkenextrakt.
Perhaps I should consider the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Wo finde ich denn diese Klatschbase?
Simpletons, these nurses. Bred with no respect.
Toll.
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reid, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reid, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
Das wussten wir irgendwie auch schon. Na gut, reden wir mal mit
The
Pippa.
patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
Wo ist die gute Pippa denn? Da ist sie. Oder auch nicht. Doch.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins. But are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke. But we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Okay.
How long have you been a nurse?
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning. And no matter how qualified you are, don't tell me you'll change that.
You're right. When dealing with such a terrible disease, one must remain humble. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try our best.
Ups, den
Sorry,
Dialog
Doctor.
hatten wir schon.
I don't want to sound bitter, but I'm just too tired to give a pep talk like Nurse Brannigan.
Okay.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
Goodbye,
Okay.
Nurse Hawkins.
Tja. Dann schauen wir doch mal, ob uns die anderen was zu sagen haben. Ach, verdammt, sie war ja unten. Ich lerne das noch. Eigentlich war sie doch hier immer.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reid. Can I help at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest, then.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reid? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Okay.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
Okay.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes. And I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reid. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Na gut.
Have you heard rumors of blackmail going on in this hospital?
Dr. Reid, are you trying to take advantage of me?
Of course not, Mrs. Goswick. I'm just curious.
Well, go be curious somewhere else, please.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Okay. Um den jungen Mann müssen wir uns später nochmal kümmern.
My sweet girl. Reads me like a book. Never could keep anything.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid. Can I be of any help?
Have you heard any talk of blackmail going on in the hospital?
If you're running some official inquiry, you had better question the patients. They know more than the staff, especially old Miss Jones.
Ja, das weiß ich schon.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that your blood transfusion technique is the only way to save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Okay.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Na gut. Vielleicht ist sie ja auch draußen. So. Das ist Thomas. Da ist eine Pippa. Das ist doch oben. Ganz oben war ja nichts weiter. Aber hier waren doch auch nur diese komischen... Gibt es hier noch was zum Plündern? Ah, gut. Tja. Dann muss ich nochmal weiter rausgucken, glaube ich. Das ist nur Pippa, okay. Ja. Gut.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reid, the new surgeon here at the
Guckt
Pen.
aber sehr
Dr. Swansea has
misstrauisch.
already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
Naja. Ist es ja auch.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most? Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Okay.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Na gut.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
Tja.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Have you seen a strange man visiting any of the nurses here?
I've never heard of such a thing, Doctor.
Do you know if any of the hospital staff have criminal backgrounds?
The people who work here all come from very different backgrounds, Doctor. Just like the patients.
Das ist keine richtige Antwort, aber gut.
Tell me what Dr. Tippett did. I know his mistake caused a patient's death.
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett would have been fired from this hospital. I could not let that happen.
You can't allow your emotions to dictate your conduct concerning patients, Nurse Brannigan.
Look around you, Dr. Reid. Do you really think we can afford to lose a brilliant practitioner like Dr. Tippett in our situation?
Perhaps you did it with the best intentions, Nurse Brannigan, but you took a great risk. Must I remind you that a man died?
You mean you've never made a mistake? Never covered your tracks? Come on, Doctor. I wasn't born yesterday.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Okay.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Das war ein interessantes Gespräch. Ich meine, ich kann verstehen, dass sie ihn geschützt hat, aber naja. Wir sehen uns jetzt erstmal weiter um und befragen noch ein paar von den anderen, aber das erst in der nächsten Folge. Bis dahin, ciao!